All right, fight of the night, Oliveira Feely, and performance of the night, Kape and Magomedov. So they won all the money.
What did you make of that performance by Kape? He was down a couple of rounds, and then no one hits as hard as this guy at flyweight, you would seem.
So true. It's just, we always talk about how one punch can change, the trajectory of a fight, and that was it.
I'm not asking you to book anything, but on paper, he hits very hard. The champion Joshua Van hits very hard. That feels like a very fun fight we could see in the future.
There you go.
What did you make of the co-main event? Kutalaba versus Navajo Sterling. Crazy brawl back and forth. What did you make of Sterling coming through that test?
Incredible. Yeah. Impressive finish. Kubalada's got a hell of a chin. He was laying there taking all those shots. Can't remember who it was. We have a group chat with the matchmakers, and they were like, I can never tell when he's sort of playing possum. I said, yeah, his face doesn't look like he was playing possum, at the end when they were raising his hand, but great win for him.
Yeah. I want to talk about the big story of the week is the White House numbers. I think it was 17 million total viewers in the States. How excited and happy are you with those numbers? I know Paramount are very happy, but you personally, how happy are you with those?
Yeah, a third of their subscribers tuned into it was huge, and the global number's massive. So that's going to come out next week. That's the biggest thing that we've ever done, and obviously the biggest thing ever for the sport. And my job, I've been saying this since the end of the ESPN deal, my job is to deliver for Paramount. And boy, have we delivered in 6 months. A lot of the stuff, we've just been quiet. We let them announce, and then, some of these markets that we're still in are pay-per-view. So you got to go through all the pay-per-view stuff and everything else, but the global number will probably come out next week.
I know you're not going to tell me, but how much bigger is the global number than the state number?
Yeah, there's two problems. We're a public company, and Paramount is a public company. And there's so many massive wins from that night, but I can't talk about any of them because they influence stock movement. So there's so much stuff we get to. I'm telling you, just watch what happens. This is like what I said with boxing. Judge us January, 2027 on the body of work we do this year. Wait till you see what we do over the next 2 years. It's just like, and I had a guy come up to me that night after we did the press conference, and basically, what do you have to say about Eddie Hearn? And I said, we are not the same, okay? And let me just put it this way. From here on out, with all the media, I'm not going to say anything about any of these other. We are not the same. We literally right now are competing with the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and the NHL. If you think about where we sit in the pecking order of the top sports in the country, I don't know this to be true, but I fucking guarantee you it is. The day we announced that we did a $7.7 billion deal, the executives at the NFL said, how the fuck did we not get this money, and how did we not know that kind of money was sitting over? We'll do games on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Then you got the NBA, the Major League Baseball is looking for a new deal, and the NHL. So you got, if you look at where TV was 15 years ago, right? All these powerful cable channels and all this stuff, the cable industry is taking a nosedive. So what do you have left? You have NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox. And then you have like 3 powerful streaming services, right? There's a lot of people fighting over the same turf.
Do you feel like this is a bubble that could maybe pop, like the streaming services can only get so big, or do you feel like even after 7 years, you guys could still potentially grow?
Look at shit that I said 10 years ago. I said when I grew up, there was Channel 3, Channel 5, Channel 8, and Channel 13. I believe that's going to exist again, but globally. Who's it going to be? Netflix, Paramount, Disney, YouTube, the list goes on and on of all the people that are, it's like the AI arms race right now. the same thing is happening in streaming.
Yeah. There is probably not a better way to follow the White House than with the Conor McGregor return. Do you expect to see similar numbers at that card as you did at the White House?
You guys know how much I love to win and gloat, and I can't do that anymore. There's so much shit I would love to drop on you right now, but you know, you'll see it playing out over, you know, the next year, earnings calls and fucking all this shit. So this will all play out, and I just have to, you know, just keep doing what I'm doing and
stay quiet.
Stay quiet. Just grind.
Yeah. A couple of negatives. Look, the Josh Hokit thing was obviously the big story for the mainstream media going out.
Yep.
That was
disgusting.
Yeah. Do you regret putting him on that card because of those comments? And
no, I mean, listen, there's always going to be people that say things that most of us don't agree with. You know, I mean, just the time, the place, you know, it's just fucking, yeah, no. I've said many times, listen, I voted for Obama the first time. Didn't vote for him the second time. Then when I was at the inauguration, he was sitting in front of me, and then I saw all this stuff on the internet where people were like, oh, Dana's mad dogging Obama. Obama's the only one that turned around to me, couldn't have been a nicer guy, and said, congratulations on all your success and everything that you've done, whatever. I said, thank you, Mr. President. And I don't believe in this shit. Like all the people that hate Trump, he's not my president. All the people that hated Biden, he's not my president. I got some bad fucking news for you. If you're an American, that's your president. And I respect all presidents, present and past. And you know, not everybody does, and got to listen to fucking stupid shit like that sometimes, unfortunately, because I also believe in free speech.
I gotcha. Alex Pereira has come out complaining about Herb Dean and the back of the strikes to the back of the head. It's kind of a hard one to talk about, but it seems like now every time Cyril Gane fights, we're kind of talking about some illegal strikes and some fouls after the fact. I'm not saying he's a dirty fighter, but do you think the next time he fights, a referee has to be like, the moment this guy does something, point?
I think every time everybody fights, the referee should be watching everything that happens. And I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. No reffing anywhere is perfect. And it could be an NBA game, could be an NFL game. Definitely some fights. It's never going to be perfect.
You don't feel like there's something with Cyril, or is it just like, look, this is a chaotic sport and it happens?
Well, I also think that if you watch the fight, it's undeniable that he got hit with some strikes to the back of the head. But in the middle of the action, you know, when it's going on and guys are rolling around trying to get out of it, sometimes some fouls happen, and maybe Dean should have said, hey, watch the back of the head, or, you know, warned him or something like that. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Two more quick ones from me. Have you reached out?
I can tell you this. Alex Pereira is not a whiner. And Alex Pereira doesn't complain about things or make excuses, you know, after fights. So I have to believe that he believed that he truly believed you know, that was true.
Have you guys reached out to Tom Aspinall yet about maybe booking that fight with Cyril?
I'm not going to talk about that stuff. You know, I'll tell you something that's funny, though. So AJ just signed with CAA for sponsorship and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't Eddie Hearn have a fucking... Isn't that what he does? Aspinall signs with Eddie Hearn, which is insane. AJ, who's been with him forever, and they're probably best friends, signs with CAA to get...
I just saw Turkey Al Sheikh saying he wants to bring you guys for a peacekeeping summit.
Listen, the reason I got into boxing, one big reason was I met him and I liked him. And he's made some pretty big things happen in the sport of boxing. This is his biggest challenge yet. That I guarantee you.
Dana, just one quick one for me. Following up on Oscar and the Herb Dean, Alex Pereira situation, it seemed like there was some controversy tonight in the fight with Andre Fili, where when Andre left the cage, he went over and Herb was showing him the replay. Did you happen to see any of that?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay.
I'll have to.
Did you see Herb Dean was also very quick to respond to Alex Pereira's kind of complaints about the back of the shot heads? Did you see the video that Herb had put out?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I really don't have any thoughts on it. That's something that they'll have to work out with the commission, and not my area. Listen, like I said it. Here's what I can tell you: that Alex Pereira is not a whiner, man. That guy doesn't ever complain about anything or whatever. So you have to believe if he's that serious about it, he's upset about it, and he believes it to be true.
Dan, I know there's going to be a little time off of events here at the Apex. I hear there's going to be some more continuation on the renovations. Can you give us a little update of what we can expect those changes to be?
Badass. I mean, when it's done, this place is going to be incredible. So where you walk into the Apex down there, that's all going away. There's going to be another skybox up there, and that will be the final renovation for now. But it's going to be incredible when it's done, and a lot more seats. There'll be a lot more seats.
Do you have any idea of what the total number of seats that you guys will be able to sell, or that?
Yeah, is it over 1,000, Lene? I think so. Yeah,
After
it's over
it's finally
1,000.
done, it'll be 1,000.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Last one I wanted to ask you on the Fight Night on Freedom 250, but it started getting a little late. One of the things I thought that stole the show that was incredible, and I didn't know if you had any idea how good it was going to be, but the U.S. Marine Band, I believe that was the name that was playing all the walkouts. Did you hear them beforehand? And to me, I felt like everybody was talking about them, and I just thought that maybe Fight Night, we didn't talk about how good they were. Did you know how good they were going to be, and how happy did they perform for you that night?
Not until days before. I'm literally about to post something about that. I was going to do it earlier, but we got busy in here. And they were incredible. So as we were always using them leading up, but we didn't know how good they were until we got there and started doing rehearsals. And then Borsari was like, holy shit, wait till you hear this band. And then when they brought me out, they had her play Thunderstruck, and it was incredible. And what was crazy was he says, because we were intending on using a DJ, to do walk-ins and do all this stuff. But once we got into the band, we were like, and you can't tell me, there were moments where we were sitting there, and like the Red Hot Chili Peppers came on, and then I realized that's not the fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers, that's the band. And, they're incredible. And it's one of the many things that made that event so cool and unique. So what we're trying to do right now is assemble all the, because they still play off sheets of music. So they had sheets of music like the size of a phone book. And we're taking all those songs, we're going to have them play, we're going to try to put together a soundtrack for UFC Freedom 250 and get Zach's rendition of the Star Spangled Banner on it too. So, yeah, it was awesome.
It was funny because I think I've even heard some of the fighters say that it sounded better than their normal walkout, just the way the rendition, maybe it was just getting caught up in the moment. And you brought up the Zach Brown when he was doing the the anthem or singing the song. You couldn't time the flyover any better than that. I think that's the moment that a lot of people took away. Were just like, that was probably that set the stage for the night. I don't know if you heard a lot of feedback, but I know a lot of people that we heard, they were like, that was the most magical thing that they had seen.
There were a lot of magical things that night. Let me tell you this. So I can't remember if I told this that night. It seems like a fucking year ago to me, but so we had two different receptions. We had a reception in the East Room of the White House. I had 90 invitations. The president had 90 invitations. We invited up there. It was incredible. Food, everybody's hanging out, talking, drinking, and then the president came down and addressed everybody, and then we all went out to the fight. But what was happening, it wasn't like we had like the Channel 7 weatherman giving us we had the military. The military meteorologists who decide whether we go to war because of the weather is whatever, is the guy who was giving us the weather. And this is no bullshit. So the storm's coming, right? So we canceled the flyover. They're going to turn around and go back because they can't do it in the dark because they fly too close to each other and, potential bad weather and all that shit. So Borsari is hitting me and he's saying, I'm canceling the flyover, and I'm like, fuck. He's like, it's looking like we'll go out at like between 9 and 9:15 is when we can start seating everybody. Because after the storm hits us, we got to clean up and see what gets, if things get broken or whatever happens. We got to try to quick fix it, and then we'll get everybody out as fast as we can. So the storm's coming. The fucking storm goes like this. Breaks apart, goes around the White House and the lips, and then continues on. Borsari calls me back and goes, "You're not going to fucking believe this." And he goes, "What do you want to do?" I said, he goes, "They're talking about the possibility of the outer, because as it goes around us, could catch some of the outer stuff." I said, "Fuck it, let's go. Get everybody out there." And he goes, "You and the president have to walk. We have 2 minutes before they turn around and fly back to the base." And we made it just in time. And that whole thing had to be timed out perfectly, because by the time we got to the ledge, he's the home of the brave, and fucking planes fly over. I mean, it just, everything about that night ended up being a miracle. It's crazy. And had we been hit with the storm, not only would we have lost the flyover, but a lot of the stuff about the history of America that we had in the show, we would have had to cut out. Yeah, so it just, unbelievable.
Dana?
Yeah.
You guys teased the rankings are coming out, the new rankings are coming out on Monday. Is there anything that you could tell us or tease about what's new?
Hopefully they work. Hopefully they're, but yeah, they come out Monday. We have all the details, and everything you need to know about them will hit on Monday.
And I don't know if you can answer this or what, but like, obviously AI is going to play a big part in this, but like, is there some point that where like stats and results can only do the rankings so much? Don't you need like an actual person to watch a fight to give their opinion on a ranking? Yeah.
So I'm going to have both. I'm still going to do human, non-human, however you want to look at it, rankings. And I think that neither will be perfect, but, it'll get us closer. And I actually, the rankings that are going to come out on Monday, I think, make a lot more sense. I think you're going to have a lot of people who are going to complain and argue and go, "Oh, this isn't fair, that's not right, and this isn't." We'll see how it plays out over the first year.
That's fair. Another question about streaming. Once the Paramount and Warner Brothers deal kind of like finalizes, can you see the UFC do an event on HBO?
Once Paramount, the Warner deal, yeah. I mean, if you look at the success that we've had already on Paramount Plus, which has completely exceeded their expectations, right? And if you look at what they paid for the product, and we have already in 6 months completely exceeded their expectations, I think that once the merger with Warner Brothers happens, and I mean, we have access to so many more, not just UFC, but boxing too. Yeah, it's going to be huge. We're in for a fun 7 years, man. We really are. And we've never been in business with an organization that's so excited to be in business with us, which helps a lot.
And then finally for me, if you get pitched to do a UFC fight at the Coliseum, what's the percentage that you would say yes?
It's impossible, because I was negotiating the deal with Zuckerberg and Musk. That was real. I was literally in my backyard for 2 weeks negotiating that fight. And they wanted the Coliseum. The Coliseum wanted something like $150 million to do it there, which that money would go into a fund that restores all the iconic places in Italy. The Coliseum would take Zuckerberg fighting Musk to happen, because those two were going to put up the money for the Coliseum.
I mean, if you get Musk to put up the money for a UFC fight, would you do it? If you get Musk or Zuckerberg to put up the money for a UFC fight in the Coliseum?
Anybody that wants to put up the money for UFC to fight in the Coliseum, I'm in.
Cool, thank you.
All right.
Dana, when the new rankings come into effect on...
Hold on. She's been trying to talk for like 5 minutes here. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dana. I'm just curious. You don't really hear you say that that's impossible. So, with that being said, is there anything that you're kind of have in your mind that you're planning for the future? I mean, you had UFC Noche at the Sphere, then you went to the White House. What do you have next in that mind of yours?
Well, I don't. I mean, usually what happens is like the Sphere. Tom Brady hit me up and said, "Hey, want to go to the U2 concert with me?" I said, "Yeah." We went there, and like halfway through the show, I was like, "The star of this show is the Sphere." And I'm like, I have to do a fight here. So that just sort of organically happened. And then at a fight one night, the president leaned over to me and said, "We should do a fight at the White House." I said, "Yes, sir, we should." And that's how that happened. What I'm excited about is that I believe, like the Intuit Dome in LA, I think that all of these arenas are going to start getting better and better and better with technology and giving a better in-house live performance, not just for what I do, but for basketball games and anything else that comes to the arena. And I'm always looking for the best indoor, in-house experience and best television experience for the fans. So that's always my focus. And whatever new technology comes out, and then if something hits me, again, then we'll do it. And I just feel like, I talked to Bisping tonight, I talked to Cormier, I talked to Laura Sanko, and then all my staff, like all week, we've all just been saying that if you weren't there live at that event, it's hard to explain. So there's this guy named Gary Brecka who helped me get healthy like the last 4 years. And he came out here to bitch at me 2 days ago. His poster boy isn't doing too fucking good these days. So he came out to let me know. And he was telling me that night when people started pouring out into the streets from the Ellipse and from the White House, like people were hugging and high-fiving each other. And like he was like, it was this weird, incredible feeling that everybody had or whatever. And you see a lot of these other sporting events when people start pouring out into the streets, they're not high-fiving and hugging. They're tearing their city apart and beating the shit out of each other. This was the complete opposite. And to be there was, I'm telling you, it was really something special. So I don't know if we can ever, replicate that. It was literally a one-of-one.
I can imagine. Even watching on TV made you just feel proud to be an American. That was my next question is how is it being back here at the Apex after being there on a stage as massive as Freedom 250? Is it like too calm? Are you enjoying the calmness or are you missing the chaos?
Well, no, it's physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausting for the entire staff. So, it's awesome that this is like a 3-day weekend, but everybody's here working. But I think everybody's my team is ready for a little bit of downtime. This is downtime for the UFC, and then we're like you said, we're heading into Baku. I got a whole group flying out there right now, and then we're heading into International Fight Week.
And that leads to my last question. You came in with a Power Slap Cup. IFW is the very first women's championship title fight. How are you feeling about that, and what do you think that's going to do for the sport?
I think it's awesome. I think Ellie Dempster's a star. Things sold out immediately. And I think a lot of people for International Fight Week that have never experienced that live event are in for a surprise. The live event is so fun and it's great. And, we just entered into a new 5-year deal with MGM for Power Slap. And we got a lot of other big things coming up for Power Slap too. So I'm excited about it. And all my cups are Power Slap. I have 700 Power Slap cups over at the office. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. I think it's awesome what the girls are doing. I love the fight. The girl that Ellie's facing, I beat her undeniably, and I hope that I get the title contention next.
Boom. Checked you out. I like it.
I had to say it to the boss himself. Call Frank, say Destiny McCubbin said match her after this.
I love it. Congrats.
Thank you so much for your time, and congrats with everything you've done with the sport of combat.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead, brother.
Dana over here. When you talk about the new rankings, right? You say that the human rankings will still, be up and running. So when it comes to matchmaking, what will you consider more? The new rankings or the human rankings, or do you find a balance between?
Well, I think you take them all into consideration. I mean, so the AI model will have its opinion on what the rankings are. The media side will have their opinion on what the rankings are. You personally will have your opinion. She will have an opinion. Everybody will have an opinion. At the end of the day, what our job is in this business is to put on fights that people want to see. And, you have to have rankings, otherwise it's just a free-for-all. And one of the things that I love about this sport is there's no sanctioning body saying, oh, this is a mandatory you and you. The fans are the sanctioning body, as it should be. The fans determine who fights who. So if anything, I think this thing, won't hurt. It'll just help.
For sure. And something else that stood out to me this week was Trevor Whitman on Joe Rogan Experience said that Hunter Campbell reached out to him regarding his gloves and maybe exploring the potential of implementing them here in the UFC. So is that something?
We've been talking to Trevor for years. Rashad Evans, whom I love and respect, came to me and said, hey, listen, I'm invested in this thing. We think that we have a great product here, and I would love to, introduce our glove to that Trevor built. All those guys, like Trevor's a genius. He makes these bags and his gloves. So we looked at it all, and I literally told my finance team, get this deal done. Care what it takes. Get the deal done. They wanted like $100 million for the glove. How many fucking gloves you got to sell to make $100 million? It's impossible. So the deal never happened, but I told my team, and Denny, the girl who runs that department, is a brilliant woman. Brilliant. She came back to me like cross-eyed, like, I can't get a deal done with these guys. So I was already, that deal should have been done a few years ago. I wanted to do that for Rashad. So we'll see.
Are you confident that you'll find maybe some common ground with this one now?
I am not confident at all.
Fair play. And,
we'll fight in the Coliseum before that deal gets done. It's almost the same money.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Last one for me. Another thing that stood out to me was Conor McGregor. He talked about, obviously everyone's excited for his return. He talked about July being his first date, and then he talked about April being his second date. And he just kind of was asking why.
What's the question? What was the dates?
He said that he's gonna have two fights. Obviously the one we know in July, and then April of 2027. He was just kind of curious as to why.
I don't even know. Listen, let's get through this one first, and then we'll figure out when the next one is. To even be talking about his second fight without even having the first fight. This is like when I'm on the internet and they're like, this fight sucks this weekend. How the fuck do you know this fight sucks? Saturday night at midnight, text me and tell me the fight sucked. So who knows? Let's see how this fight plays out.
And I lied. I had one more. When you were just talking about the music from the White House, and you guys are going to make a playlist, is that going to be available on Spotify and stuff like that? Or?
Well, that's our idea right now. Now you got to turn it into reality. I don't know how any of that works. The president that night leans over to me and says, how incredible is this band? I said, they're incredible. He's like, I'm going to give them a fight of the night bonus. So then I hit him up and I said, I'm going to match your bonus. And then I had fucking lawyers from the White House calling me going, whoa, this has to be done in a certain way and all this other guy. I said, yeah, I'm just saying. Listen, I'll match the bonus that the president, whatever the president's going to give the band, I'll match. So this is just an idea. I don't know how hard it really is to pull that off, but it's a great idea. And if we can do it, it's obviously great for the band. And the girl who is the lead singer of that band is incredible. Hopefully she gets a record deal. Right? How cool would that be out of this thing? She sings at the White House for Freedom 250 and gets a record deal.
I agree. I've seen her stuff all over the internet since that fight.
Yeah. Awesome. Well deserved for the whole band. You done with me? Have a great weekend.